Hello, all, and welcome to the latest episode of Chasing Green Arrows. Today, I'll be discussing the best Solanke draft ever since Dom Solanke has moved to Spurs. A lot of FPL managers have got him in. He has a prolific record, so why not? I've been trying my best to fit him in my own team. Currently, I don't own him, but I'm very, very tempted by this draft in particular because it has Haaland, Isak, Solanke. Spoiler alert. Without further ado, I'll jump straight into the goalkeepers. In goal, I have Mark Flecken. So for anyone who's seen my videos over the course of this of preseason, he would know that I basically like Flecken and Henderson as the 4.5s. If anyone wants to wildcard early, then Henderson is probably the better pick because Palace's short-term fixtures are better than Flecken. But over a longer horizon, I think Flecken is better. Because he has a 4 million backup who's gonna be second choice if Flecken gets dropped. Secondly, because Brentford's long-term data is probably better. So when you look at Brentford's data over the past 3 seasons, for example, Brentford have been in the top 5 teams for most shots conceded from outside the box, and they've been in the top 8 teams for fewest XG conceded. Now, that is an ideal combination for a goalkeeper to haul, as it means that he has the ability to possibly accumulate save points at the same time having a chance of keeping a clean sheet. Now, moving on to the defense, now that we're spending big in attack and spending on Haaland, Isak, Solanke, you would assume that the defense would be a bit light. However, I don't think that is necessarily the case. I think the defense is decent. In fact, I think it's more than decent. It's more than presentable. So the first defender I have is Gabriel from Arsenal. He has a lot of goal threat, and again, I think his minutes for the short term should be fine. He recently scored in a friendly as well. And Calafiori and Timber haven't really gotten enough minutes in preseason to sort of make me worry a lot about Gabriel in the short term. So he should be good, especially for managers looking to wildcard early. If you're looking for a more solid, more robust long-term option, then I think Saliba is fine as well. My second defender is Pedro Porro. Now, Pedro Porro is another one who I have had in like every one of my drafts basically since preseason. Um, Spurs have a really good run of fixtures. Leicester, Everton to begin with, then Brentford in game week 5. And he was top for XG among defenders last season. So there's clearly a ceiling to target with Porro. Now, the thing with Porro is that he's playing Arsenal, Man United, and Newcastle in game week 3, 4, and 6, respectively. So you would probably need a defender to cover him. I've picked Konza for this very reason because in these weeks where Porro has a tough fixture, Konza has a good fixture. So they rotate really well together. Then my fourth defender actually is Liverpool's Konza. Now I've picked him even though he's a bit of a rotation risk. I realize that he's a threat from Konate, possibly, but I think personally that I've seen enough from Kwanzaa in preseason to suggest that he's going to start over Konate. I've read reports that Konate might be out of favor and the manager may prefer Konza because of his ball playing ability. Now, when you look at the preseason minutes for Liverpool players, Konza has had almost more than double than Konate's, which makes me feel that there's every chance that Van Dijk starts on the left as the centre back for Liverpool and Kwanzaa starts on the right. And at 4.5 million, I don't think you can go wrong, especially given the fixtures and because of the fact that I have a very solid defense. Even if Kwanzaa does lose his position, let's say after 3 or 4 weeks, I don't think it's the end of the world. My fifth defender in this draft is actually Dunk from Brighton. So again, a very solid pick, completely nailed. Good fixtures in game week 4 and 5 at home to Ipswich and Nottingham Forest when you might need him. Then in midfield, the first one has been one again who's been a constant in my team. It's Bukayo Saka on penalties, on corners, potentially the best captaincy option in game week 3. I like his price point. I think he's a very easy switch to, let's say, a Son or a Palmer if needed, or even Salah for that matter in game week 4. Let's say if you want to make that switch before Liverpool's good fixtures. My second midfielder in this system is actually Jota. Now I realize that Jota is a bit of a risk for minutes. I don't have him in my personal team, but I think at that price he could easily do well, and we've seen in the past that whenever he does get minute, he has a very good minutes per goal record. So I can never sort of put anyone off picking Diego Jota, especially given Liverpool's fixtures. I think Darwin hasn't really been that impressive in preseason. This shirt as Jota's to lose at the start of the season. The third mid that I've selected is Eze. Again, I think Likely to be Palace's talisman in the absence of Elise, on penalties, potentially on set pieces. Good fixtures to begin with. We've seen under Glasner, Palace have been very, very impressive. I think Eze will be the talisman for Palace this season at 7 million. He's a very good pick to have. Then my fourth one is Nkunku for 6.5. I think Nkunku is personally clear of the other 6.5s or anyone below in that price range. If he ends up staying fit, which we've seen signs of in preseason because he's played the highest number of preseason minutes, I expect him to do well. The fixtures from Game Week 2 are very appealing, so the upside is clearly there. Up front, I've already told you I have Haaland, Isak, and Solanke for obvious reasons. I don't want to elaborate more or get into it. On the bench, I have Valdi Marson from Brentford as the backup to Flecken. Then I have Konza and Dunk as mentioned, and then I have Harry Winks as the 15th player, who's basically a 4.5 enabler, who's going to play in case of any emergency in the squad. That brings me to the end of the video. I would request you all to please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We've been bringing lots of content for you in preseason, so any support would be massively appreciated. Please make sure to leave your comments in the feedback below as well. Thank you very much.